This is the Forex Q&A podcast. This is VP, professional Forex prop trader here in the United States, answering your user-submitted Forex trading-related questions every Monday morning. Now, if you have a question and you have consumed all the material, and there's still one question looming, well, what you do is you go to nononsenseforex.com/askvp, fill out the form, and I will get back to you probably within 48 hours. Now, if you go to the website and click on the Ask VP tab right now, you're going to find that this portion of the website is shut down for a few days. And that's fine. Just check back on Tuesday, and we should be up and ready to go again. I'd let some things pile up a little bit, and I just had to catch up. And I'm getting a lot of questions nowadays, which is good, but it was just starting to get a little much with everything else I had going on. So thank you for your patience, but by Tuesday we should be up and running again, and you can just go there and ask whatever you like, as long as you had not asked a question already. What I have done in the last few days is catch up on the blog, so there are a couple new blog pieces up on the website that were not there a few days ago. I tweeted that out on Saturday, so you can check that out too, along with the blog for this episode. And if you like, you can follow me on Twitter. I always put that in the description at the very bottom, so you can just click on that link and follow me, and you will be alerted to these things as soon as they happen. On Thursday, I had put out the Forex News trading video, which was a really great success. Thank you guys for watching it and commenting, and I hope you learned some things there. Also, I need to make a little bit of a clarification as it goes right now. I don't know when you're going to listen to this podcast, but if you are listening to this podcast as it comes out on Monday, January 21st, 2019, up until the Brexit vote actually happens on, I think it is March 29th, if I'm not mistaken, I will not be trading the pound, but I will probably go ahead and trade the euro. I don't really see a whole lot of freak news events or rumors coming out for the pound during this time, but I'm just not going to take my chances. As always, you all can do whatever you like. But if you want to know my game plan going forward for the next couple months, that is going to be it. Now, again, that leaves me with plenty of other pairs to trade. Metals are finally moving, thank God. So I personally am not going to be at a want for things to trade. But as is always the case, I am more interested in removing losses from my overall bottom line as much as I can all the time. That is really my top priority when it comes to the way I trade nowadays. So that is what I'm going to do. And I think a good number of you understood that from the video, but the one thing I really didn't clarify is that the euro is still going to be on. We did not see the euro move a whole lot during this whole back and forth, and if it's not moving now, I really don't expect it to move too much as a result of what happens with Brexit going forward. Again, I'm not a fundamentals guy, so take that for what it's worth, but this is just what I've observed so far, and I feel pretty comfortable trading the euro going forward. A quick shout-out, I haven't done one of these in a while, a shout-out to those who listen to this podcast on Podbean. Podbean Nation, you guys are on fire. You have overtaken CastBox for the 5th spot overall as far as the Forex Q&A podcast goes. Number 1 is actually YouTube. Number 2 is Spotify. Then Apple Podcasts, then Chrome, which I assume is just Google Play. And now you guys are all alone, comfy in the 5th spot. I see you. Podbean Nation, I literally see you as you subscribe and come in because Podbean is the platform that I use to publish this very podcast. And I can see you guys subscribe, I can see you guys leave comments and all that. I actually have to download the app on my phone if I'm going to respond to your comments, and I don't really want to do that, so if I don't respond to your comments, it's nothing personal. But I do thank you for those either way. It is the Forex Q&A podcast, and we need to get into the question here because I'm not sure how long this is going to go. We could go well under time or we could go well over time here. Episode 31's question is from Kunal from Durban, South Africa. And Kunal asks, are there any books on Forex trading that you recommend I read? And that was it. Short and sweet. Now, I do get this question a couple times a week right about, and I do like the question because what is nerdier in 2019 with all this media out there for you to consume than actually sitting down and reading an actual book on Forex trading? I love it. You know, a lot of you guys just want to consume as much Forex education as you possibly can, and I think that's great because the opposite of that, this la-di-da, I'll just do it when I get to it approach, is not going to get you where you want to be. But there is one inherent problem with this question. Or I should say there's one problem with asking me this question. Can anybody guess what that might be? Think about it. All right, time's up. So if you have consumed any of my material at all, you're going to notice something about me. I am pretty much the lone contrarian out there when it comes to Forex education. I am the guy telling you not to do all of the things that everybody else tells you to do, because 99.999, pretty much everybody out there who's not VP, is telling you to use price action or old tired indicators, whatever the case may be. Now, every so often, they might put out a video that does agree with something that I say. I've seen those quite a few times. But for the most part, I'm completely on an island over here. And if I am disagreeing with pretty much everything on the internet, like all of it, there's a really, really low chance that I'm going to be able to strongly recommend to you an actual book on Forex trading. I mean, what's a book going to have that the internet doesn't already have? So I really can't help you too much there. Now, let's say that you are a podcast listener and you don't like the way I trade at all. You are a diehard price action trader. You like your support and resistance lines. You like your naked charts. And you just listen to this because you dislike me or because you're just trying to maybe extract some kind of nugget here or there, from what I say. That's fine, and I might just have a book for you. Now, for the rest of you who actually like the way we trade here and you're trying to do that yourself, this is not a book you are going to want to read. It's very price action heavy. It has support and resistance lines, moving average crossovers, I think. I haven't read it in a while, and different time frames, including the 5-minute chart. The way he does it is he goes from the 5-minute chart into the hour chart, into the daily chart. And if you live in the same part of the country where I live, this is a damn near impossible way to trade. After I read the book, I actually tried it, and who knows if it would actually worked or not, but time just simply didn't allow for it. Now, you don't have to write this down. Every book I talk about is going to be right there on the blog, along with a link. You can just click it and buy it if you want. But the one Forex book that I read that didn't completely suck was called Attacking Currency Trends by Greg Michalowski. And again, showed a way of trading that I totally don't want to trade. At the time I read the book, I was really undecided on how I wanted to do things. So I was just grasping at anything. And this was a really good book. But I can say with confidence that over time, one of the best things I ever did was get away from that style of trading. But for you price action junkies out there that just don't want to cross over to our side, you could do a lot worse than that book right there. But fans of the podcast and the videos and the blog already know that if I do recommend a book, it's almost always a mindset book. And I think books like this are 100 times more important than any actual book you could read on Forex trading. I have mentioned most of them in the past, maybe not all of them, but every single one of these is also going to be on the blog. I will not talk about all of them here. But I'm going to link the blog down below, and you can go there and see every single book I recommend and a little blurb on each of them. And if you just want to go buy it right there, I'll have a link that'll just take you right to Amazon. But every other book you see is going to be a mindset book. Now, I'm not going to sit here and be so arrogant to say, hey, you have to think exactly like I do about life in order to succeed in this business. Everybody's different. Most people are certainly different than me. I am an outlier in many ways. But I can say with 100% confidence that a lot of the success I have in trading now would not have happened without these books. Now, I've met a lot of really successful traders in the last 10 years, and they don't all think this way, but I was really surprised how many of them are on my side of the fence when it comes to just general outlooks on life and how to best approach it. And my recommendation to you is not to be on my side of the fence and not your side of the fence. But my recommendation to you would be, try reading one of these books and see if it does have an effect on you. If it doesn't, great, well now you know. But if any of the books on that blog somehow manage to change the way you think about things, and you like that change, or they just confirm what you've already thought, then most of the books on that list are going to be custom tailored to you. And I strongly feel like there's nothing but absolute upside to reading them. One of the books that I recommended, the one that I highlighted strongly in the Discipline episode, has been a huge success so far. And that's going to be on the blog too. That's the one where I've had people come back and say, yo, this book, I am only 30 pages in and I am blown away. Now, most of you already know what that book is. But if you don't, I'll talk about that on the blog as well. Now, there's one of the books that I mentioned there that if you haven't read it, I would ask that if you could, read this one first. Because I think, and as one of my listeners put it, it's pretty much the gateway drug to everything else. And I'll back up a little bit and I'll tell you kind of a story about how this book came about and how it actually changed me. I moved to Las Vegas in 2006 to pursue food and beverage because that's all I knew and that's all I've ever really done. That's all I was ever really good at. And about 6 months in, I got offered a job to become an assistant general manager to a restaurant on the Las Vegas Strip. Now, in many ways, this was the break I was looking for. Because if you're willing to put in the work, and it's a lot of work, but the chances of moving up are really good. Most restaurant managers here are absolutely terrible. They're corrupt, they're lazy, they're negligent, they're flat out dumb, or some combination of all those things. So if you can just manage to not be those things as much as you possibly can, the chances of moving up are very good. Now, I'm not a yes man at all, so that might have gotten in my way. But if I'm forced to play the game, I can play the game. Because the upside is great. To become the general manager of a major restaurant on the Las Vegas Strip is a really, one, prestigious honor. Two, it pays really well. And then if you're able to take it even further, you can become like the food and beverage director for a major hotel and casino. Now, that would be pretty sweet. To one day tell my loser friends back home that I came out and became the food and beverage director of the entire MGM Grand Hotel and Casino. For me back then, I was a lot more insecure back then. That would have been a really great goal to pursue. And to have the chance to get in at such a young age and get in early like that was really great. I was super grateful for the opportunity. But there was one problem. The timing of this job offer was absolutely terrible. How come? Because I had just read Rich Dad, Poor Dad 3 weeks prior. And it took me from one side of the fence all the way over to the other side of the fence. I no longer wanted to put in 70-hour work weeks, kiss ass, and move up the ladder anymore. I had always felt like I was capable of more than that. Now, a lot of people I know are super happy being on that side of the fence. And it really works out for them. But I just knew the way that book spoke to me, that I needed to be doing things a different way. And it's cool to read a book like that and say, okay, I think this way now. But then 3 weeks later, I had to actually prove it. And I had two really important paths laid out right in front of me. Path number one, stick to what you know, put in a ton of man hours, kiss butt, and hopefully achieve that prestigious, high-paying job over time. Or path number two, eat shit. Take a lot of chances and fail because you don't know what you're doing, which just makes you eat more shit. But at least all the while, you are creating your own thing. And if you can just get one of those things to work, the upside can be absolutely tremendous. But all the while knowing that this might not work, and you're going to spend much of your young life pursuing this, while your friends who have comfortable jobs are out buying new cars and going on vacations, you're not going to get to do any of that. And it's going to totally suck. But if you feel like you are smart enough and determined enough to do it and to fail all the time, one of these days you're going to run out of ways to fail, and it's all going to be worth it. Now, all this being said, when that decision presented itself, it was still probably the hardest and most important decision of my entire life, looking back on it. Because once you choose one way, there's very little going back. But for me, and for my own genetic makeup, my own DNA, I'm so glad I chose the path I did. And I didn't even really know that path was accessible until I read that book. It changed everything. I certainly wouldn't be here talking to you right now if it wasn't for that. Now again, what's good for me is certainly not necessarily going to be good for you. I'm a weirdo. But you might be a little bit of a weirdo too, and you owe it to yourself to at least find out. Because I can say with confidence that every mindset book that I have read, that have actually resonated with me up until now, have a lot to do with the success I've been able to have trading and then later on social media. Now, I have such a long way still to go in all aspects, but I wake up every single day absolutely charged up, ready to take that ride. And that to me is what's important. And I can say with absolute confidence that those books had a lot to do with my approach to things right now. So go check them out if you like. Like I said, I'm going to go link the blog below, and also in the comments section, if you have already read any of those books and you have anything you would like to say about them, especially if it's positive, put that down below in the comments section. Like I said, everybody's different. I would like to see how these books have resonated with you. And don't get too used to me telling stories about myself. You guys know I don't really like to do that a whole lot. I'm a pretty private person overall. But if I feel like it can really apply to you and help you out in the long term, then I'm more than happy to share things like that. But it's Monday, traders. Whatever you do in your spare time is up to you, but you need to get on those charts. The market's moving. It's a brand new week. Embrace it. Let's go get it.